In a scathing rebuke of global hypocrisy on terrorism, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi used the G7 outreach platform to issue a forceful warning against selective approaches to violent extremism. Speaking just weeks after a brutal terrorist attack in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir, that killed 26 civilians, PM Modi made it clear nations that sponsor terror must pay a price. His remarks coincided with the launch of India's decisive counter-strike, Operation Sindoor, targeting terror hideouts deep inside Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Here's the full story.
At a time when the world continues to juggle geopolitical interests and moral posturing, India has taken a stand that cuts through the hypocrisy. Speaking at the G7 outreach session in Canada, Prime Minister Narendra Modi issued a direct warning against the global community's selective approach towards terrorism. Prime Minister Modi's remarks at the G7 outreach session were a sharp indictment of the international community's inconsistent stance on terrorism. While refraining from naming Pakistan directly, the subtext of his words left little doubt. Modi described the April 22 Pahalgam terror attack as not just an act of violence against India, but an attack on humanity and a brutal reminder of what he termed the soul, identity, and dignity of every Indian. Standing firm, Modi asserted that there is no place for double standards on terrorism and issued a strong call for a consistent and a unified global approach. He also spoke on behalf of the Global South, pointing out that nations in Asia, Africa and Latin America bear the brunt of such instability, created and perpetuated by powers that thrive on proxy warfare and militant exports.
I believe Prime Minister's speech at the G7 was very pertinent, very important, and it got the message across very clearly regarding double standards which prevail the worldwide over on the issue of terrorism. World powers are listening without doubt and listening more to India and Prime Minister Modi. Couple of reasons. One, of course, India's growing heft and role in world affairs. The impact of India's development for the overall development of the planet Earth, India's contributions, the largest population on planet Earth. So world leaders are now definitely listening. They have been listening, but they're listening more. And in fact, after Operation Sindoor, I would say they're listening even more, they're even more alert.
India's response to the Pahalgam massacre was not delayed diplomacy, it was decisive action. In response to the April 22 Pahalgam terror attack that killed 26 civilians, India launched Operation Sindoor on the night of May 6 to 7th. The operation targeted 9 terror camps in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, hitting facilities run by groups like Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba with backing from the Pakistani military. India's strikes were precise and non-escalatory, focused solely on dismantling terror infrastructure. Following limited Pakistani retaliation through drone attacks and shelling along the LOC, Indian forces responded strongly, damaging key Pakistani military bases. The swift and decisive action forced Pakistan to seek de-escalation through military back channels. Amid this unfolding crisis, US President Donald Trump claimed that the United States had played a central role in mediating a ceasefire between India and Pakistan. The narrative, however, did not match the facts. Prime Minister Modi, in a phone call with President Trump on the sidelines of the G7 summit, set the record straight. The Prime Minister briefed Trump on Operation Sindoor, outlining that the targets were limited strictly to terror camps and that India had used no external negotiation or third-party intervention before or after its action.
प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप को स्पष्ट रूप से कहा कि इस पूरे घटनाक्रम के दौरान कभी भी किसी भी स्तर पर भारत अमेरिका ट्रेड डील या अमेरिका द्वारा भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच मध्यस्थता जैसे विषयों पर बात नहीं हुई थी। सैन्य कार्रवाई रोकने की बात सीधे भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच दोनों सेनाओं की एग्जिस्टिंग चैनल्स के माध्यम से हुई थी और पाकिस्तान के ही आग्रह पर हुई थी। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने जोर देकर कहा कि भारत ने न तो कभी मध्यस्थता स्वीकार की थी, न करता है और न ही कभी करेगा। इस विषय पर भारत में पूर्ण रूप से राजनीतिक एकमत है।
As India asserts its right to defend its people and borders, Pakistan continues to wear the mask of a victim, even as its own hands remain stained with the blood of countless terror plots. From orchestrating attacks in Kashmir to sheltering UN-designated terrorists, Pakistan's military regime has shown no intent to change course. But unlike the past, its actions are now increasingly under global scrutiny. The backfiring of its retaliatory strikes, the exposure of its drone capabilities, and its forced appeals for de-escalation reflect the weakened state of Pakistan's military and diplomatic credibility. Meanwhile, India has emerged as a stabilizing force in the region, engaging global powers on its terms, securing support from the US, and making it clear that any threat to Indian lives will be met with a proportionate and punishing response.